Hey, what's up, Squadron friends and viewers? It is AWOL, and I'm joined by Hengist, Moxness, David Brown. We had the pleasure of touring Blizzard's campus in Irvine. It is gorgeous. I want to be there all the time. And we got to play Overwatch and talk with the developers about the game. In fact, the developers helped us learn how to play Overwatch in an over 2-hour play session. We played with the community team as well. And in this video, we want to share with you our favorite tank characters and talk a little bit about our experience in this Gamescom 2015 build of Overwatch. First things first, I'm gonna kick it right over to you, David Brown. What was your favorite tank?
I honestly didn't play many tanks. There's only 3 of them. Is Winston, Reinhardt, and Zarya. Their tanks really aren't my specialty, but I do know Hengist was crushing me with this charge ability with Reinhardt every other time. You're just, no matter what character you are, once you get in the path of that charge, you're like, it's like, well, I can do nothing now until I hit this wall and die.
That's why I kicked it over to you first, because I was also crushing you with Reinhardt all day. Hengist, tell us about Reinhardt. I know you want to talk about Reinhardt forever, so why was Reinhardt your favorite?
Dude, like, I really enjoyed playing Overwatch. I liked the different classes. I liked a bunch of different characters, but by and large, dude, Reinhardt is just the man. I had so much fun. Like, I just wanted to lock in with Reinhardt every time. Because you don't have to play him like a tank if you don't want to. And maybe that's, you know, a bad thing. Maybe it'll be changed. But like Dave was saying, yeah, his shift ability is the charge. And this ability ain't easy to use. You know, you move really fast. You can't really maneuver. You sort of can, like, strafe a little bit. But the ultimate goal of charge is to initiate with Reinhardt. But if on your initiate you actually intersect with an enemy hero, you grab him, and then you're just like smash him into a wall. And squishy characters, offensive, defense, basically anyone who's not a tank is gonna get killed by this ability, like one shot. Like, just smash him into a wall. There's your initiate. You just took somebody out. It makes Reinhardt an amazing 1v1 hero, but I mean, that's not even really the sell of Reinhardt. It's just the reason I had so much fun. Dude, just like zooming across the map and getting these one-shot kills. The main reason you play Reinhardt, or, you know, most of these tanks, is because of their ability to kind of control your team's positioning on the battlefield. And Reinhardt, I would probably say, has the strongest ability to do that with his shield. So his shield is bound to his right click, and basically he's gonna create this shield that you want to have facing perpendicular to incoming fire. So it's this wall shield. It's big, right? It's got 2,000 HP. Reinhardt himself has 500 base HP. So to give you guys an idea, a hero like Tracer, you know, a squishy hero has like 150. Is like on the lower end of the HP pool. So Reinhardt,
she actually has the lowest at the moment. 150 is the lowest, and then the other squishies have 200. So it's a huge disparity.
Yeah. Reinhardt, if you're using your shield effectively, he's got 2,500 hit points here. All right, so he's blocking like fire from the entire enemy team, and he can advance his team with the shield active. So it's a great way to take over points, man. We saw some pretty absurd stuff. People running 2 Reinhardts, but it's very, very powerful to support Reinhardt while he's making his advance with this kind of phalanx shield wall. It looks like something out of 300 or something. And you got Lucio boosting his speed. He's getting pocket heals while he's pushing. Oh man, he's so terrifying. But yeah, I mean, I'll also talk about his E. So his E is called this Fire Strike. It's the only ranged ability that Reinhardt has. And I know we're spending a lot of time talking about Reinhardt. He's just like amazing. But
no, that's okay. Go on.
So his melee attack is just a massive smash with a hammer. So it kind of leaves him vulnerable to targets like, I don't know, Widowmaker, who can knock him down from afar. He doesn't really have a way to attack them, especially if they're on a different elevation and he can't charge. So a solution to that is the Fire Strike, which is kind of this vibration he sends through the air, and it penetrates things. It penetrates things like shields. And it deals lots of damage. It penetrates shields, also penetrates players. So if they're all lined up single file, you can actually hit 5 people with this ability and deal catastrophic damage. I definitely felt like in the Gamescom build, it dealt too much damage, man. Like, you could basically 2-shot a squishy character with the Fire Strike, which is actually on a pretty low cooldown. So yeah, that's kind of his answer to people who try to snipe him down from afar. Yeah, what did you guys play? That's enough Reinhardt
well,
talk, right?
I'm going to talk more about Reinhardt, because Reinhardt was great. There's a couple things, you described all my excitement too, but there's a couple times when it was Reinhardt versus Reinhardt, which I felt was the most fun tank versus tank lineup. And what I discovered is there was a couple times when you were charging at me and then I charged at you, and it looked to me like whoever charged first ended up actually being the one to intercept the other character, and then basically you lose the charging battle. So if you guys are wondering if two Reinhardts charge into each other, does the game break? No, it appears to be whoever started charging first wins that one. And it was really, really fun, basically. Like, I felt like it was Juggernaut versus Juggernaut. And the Earthshatter ability, you didn't have a chance to talk about that. That's his ultimate. And basically it's a frontal cone that knocks everybody down to the ground. And this ability is incredible for the engaging that Hengist was talking about.
Yeah.
Where you basically charge in, you're disengaging your shield, so you're vulnerable when you're doing this. You charge in, hopefully you're gonna pin a squishy and kill him right out the gate. That would be perfect scenario, right? The other 4 characters are going, uh-oh. You Earthshatter and knock everybody to the ground, and then you're going to use your E at that point, your Fire Strike, to hit multiple enemies and do catastrophic damage to them. And that combo is so straightforward, and it works really, really well. And also, once you charge in and you're in melee range, don't underestimate the power of just that rocket hammer left click. I actually got more kills with that just left click than anything else. And why? Because you're freaking Reinhardt. You effectively have 2,500 HP, and you can just run in and hit people with a rocket hammer.
It's important to note though, because when he swipes with his hammer, he can deal conal damage as well. So he's actually hitting multiple targets with his melee swing. So the scenario that AWOL described, you Earth Shatter and you get a clump of people, say on a control point, knock down, stun, I don't know, a couple seconds stun, right? You can swipe them and deal AoE damage to them on the ground. But one point I wanted to make about Earth Shatter before we move on is that, yeah, it's great from a solo player's perspective. You can combo on top of yourself, but man, Earthshatter combos so well with offensive ultimates. The one example that I saw that was amazing was I went in for a really strong Earthshatter. I had like 4 people pinned, right? Pally Time comes in, these guys are groups, and he's got the Dragon Strike on Hanzo, and so the initiate damage from the Earthshatter has already softened them up. Literally, Dragon Strike just cleans up everybody. They can't get out of it when they're knocked down on the ground, and if you're in close range, it's like an insta-kill. So yeah, it's very, very powerful when you combo with other AoE abilities because it keeps them in place.
Multiple Reinhardts was a thing that was happening a couple games, and because we weren't experienced enough, my team couldn't figure out how to counter multiple Reinhardts. Now you have 2 dudes with 2,000 shields blocking a point and defending it, and for those of you that didn't know, if you're standing behind a Reinhardt shield, you can shoot through the shield effectively, but the enemy team can't shoot through the shield the other way. So it made like this impenetrable fortress of Reinhardts that was really difficult to counter. And I feel that what do you think is the best counter to Reinhardt? The way we're describing it right now, it sounds like Reinhardt's completely OP and unstoppable. But what would give you the most trouble with Reinhardt? And then we'll get to Moximus.
I mean, there's Symmetra, who's got her charged attack can actually penetrate shields. That can go through Reinhardt's shield.
Yeah, you can also melee through the shields. There's some ways you can bust through the shield front facing, but let's be honest, you never want to get in melee range of Reinhardt. To answer AWOL's question about who's the best at dealing with Reinhardt, it's actually the teleporters. Guys like Tracer can just straight up blink around Reinhardt and he won't even know you're there. He's slow. He's got to face this shield towards his enemy, and he's not really aware the enemy's behind him while he's front facing with his shield wall. Another person who's really good at it, and I would say the best, is definitely Reaper. So Reaper you can kind of ghost through Reinhardt, or he can teleport behind him. He's got a couple options, but obviously Reaper excels at close range combat. So if you can sneak up on him, and you can pretty much, I don't know, 4-shot him with Reaper, it's not that hard. Yeah, people who can get behind Reinhardt are the best at dealing with him. His greatest strength is that impenetrable wall that you're talking about. But you also mentioned having 2 Reinhardts. Dude, there isn't really a counter to 2 Reinhardts when it's a control point, because they sit back to back at that point, and then your options are super limited.
Right, what are you going to do, like appear in the ground underneath them? I'm sure that there are ways to counter that, but we didn't discover them during our play session, and that's what kind of makes it interesting, is that we're in such an early phase with the game. All right, enough about Reinhardt. That was like 10 minutes of Reinhardt.
Love you, Reinhardt.
I love you too, Reinhardt. Moxness liked another tank, so what was your favorite?
I like playing Winston. He's definitely not dealing as much damage as Reinhardt. He can really mess up your enemy's team if they're working well together, particularly with his ultimate, his Primal Rage ultimate. Like if you have a enemy team that's really in sync, defending their objective, if you just like Hulk leap in there with Winston and just Primal Rage, you can just scatter them. Just let your teammates just come in and pick them off one by one, because you just knock them all back one by one. So I thought that was a lot of fun. I found his Tesla cannon. It doesn't do a whole ton of damage. It's this short range primary attack. From when I played it at PAX East, I had a lot of difficulty actually figuring out what the range was of this Tesla cannon until I saw like the kill cam after I died, and I realized, oh man, I wasn't even hitting anyone. But it seems that with this Gamescom build, they've fixed a lot of that, because I didn't find that when I was playing him this time.
Yeah, like visually, or you describe it, like for me, it was like the electricity, I don't know if this is the right term, like the tendrils, if you will, and the electricity appeared to like directly connect with the torso of the target that you're hitting when you were actually in range. That did make it more intuitive. Yeah, because in like when I played it at PAX East, it looked like it was just going kind of all over the place. Like the electricity just went in this weird cone, and I didn't know if I was hitting guys or if I was in range or not. But it was definitely much more intuitive this time around. And got it. How'd you feel his shield projector was in comparison to Reinhardt's shield?
His shield projection, you can leap in wherever you want and then place that shield. So if you need to get a shield up at a specific point really quick, he can do that. Whereas Reinhardt's got to make his way to a point. So it can be very helpful. And I think the devs were even talking about a 5 Winston team or a 6 Winston team, or a Quinston, if you will, and where you would just be able to put up shields constantly. And I can see how that would be very troublesome for your.
It's just like a giant dome of shields.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Winston's shield, I felt that it was easier to counter than Reinhardt's. Because Reinhardt's attached to his shield. If you're going to deal with that shield, you're going to deal with Reinhardt. With Winston's shield, although it's very powerful on control points, it is this little device that he places down on the ground, and I found that teleporters in particular are very effective at getting in there, destroying that thing, and piecing out. Like, that's exactly what the Tracer's good at. She blinks in and then she recalls back after having dealt with that little device. So I'm not crystal clear on the cooldown for Winston's shield. It's not long, but it is easy to take out, you know, with a character like that.
My feedback, I also played Winston, but I didn't play him as much because I didn't feel he's supposed to be the disruptive tank. And I didn't feel that he was disruptive enough. But that's because, of course, I only played him for, what, like 2 games or something. But a big part of that for me was he didn't do enough damage, in my opinion. Just because somebody's in your face dealing damage to you, you're looking at your health bar and you're making those split-second decisions. Should I just stand here and continue to shoot this giant gorilla in the face, or should I run? And my health bar wasn't going down fast enough for me to decide to run a lot of the time, especially when I was playing Reaper. With Reaper, I think we talked about this afterwards, Hengist, like, the gorilla's so huge, when he's in your face, you can headshot him multiple times with your shotguns, and he just goes down quickly with that Primal Rage. Yeah. So, you know, if his base damage with Tesla Cannon is not increased, then in my opinion, when you go Primal Rage, you should either have a greater, like, knockback component with that, or you should just flat out do more damage. But the disruption isn't there.
I had very similar feedback with Winston's design, and that is that the Tesla Cannon, you know, any way you look at it, it's kind of a close-range weapon. Or at least if you're the tank, you want to be close to your opponent, right? But if you're a giant ape, why are you using a gun that doesn't deal much damage when you could be punching, right? So when I was playing Winston, I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm in melee range. I'm gonna punch a fool. Why am I gonna use this cannon? So I start punching people on Winston, and I'm like, hold on now, this punch isn't dealing enough damage. It's dealing the same amount of damage as like a, I don't know, Soldier 76 melee attack, but you're a giant ape with armor on. So I was like, you know what, either this knockback needs to deal a lot more damage, like Reinhardt level single target damage, or it needs a knockback or something, because I'm in melee range as a tank. I should be rewarded for that. And I feel like the only time you can really, you know, drive it home when you're in melee range is if your ult is off cooldown, your primal rage. Then obviously you're dealing a lot of damage, but that's only few and far between.
Fair enough. We didn't talk at all about Zarya. Really quick, my impression of Zarya is she is probably the middle ground in between these other two tanks. She can be disruptive. She can also help you hold a point. She does have the ability to have a personal shield as well as a shield that she can deploy to one of her allies. It seemed to be all about her ultimate, though, in the play session. The developers kept talking about it. We're talking about her, what the hell is the name of it?
Graviton Surge. Yeah.
Graviton Surge. And Jeff Kaplan was standing behind me so much, he's like, use the Graviton Surge now! Unleash its power! And I would do it, and I messed it up every time. And it's not as easy to do as the gameplay footage for Zarya indicates. It requires a lot of team coordination. Everybody needs to set up for it, and if your allied Zarya ends up using the Graviton Surge and the rest of the team isn't there to capitalize within a few seconds, it's worthless. Now, you can end up using your own right clicks as a Zarya, it's basically a grenade launcher, if you will. Attack into the middle of that Graviton Surge. You can do some damage with those right clicks, but you need to have some assistive damage from your team to combo. And I think when it comes to competitive scene, those Zarya Graviton Surges are going to be in, like, at least one of those is going to be in every top 5 plays. Because that's how you're going to set up for those quadra kills, those penta kills, etc., the team wipes.
Yeah, of course she needs follow-up damage. You know, that's what the ability is designed for. It's a team-based ability. It reminds me a lot, and since, you know, we post so much heroes, you guys know what I'm talking about. It reminds me of Gazlo's Gravitron Bomb. It's basically the same thing, right? Except you can shoot this one a long distance. And so, yeah, man, if you're Hanzo's standing by with his dragon ready to go, and you call it out over voice comms, yeah, I'm gonna hit the bomb here, the surge here, then that Hanzo knows, oh man, there's my target, and easy kill, like 4-man kill with that if you land it effectively. Absolutely need follow-up damage.
Definitely confuses you when you get hit by it. Like, I got hit a bunch of times by it, and all of a sudden your screen is just spinning around.
Yeah, it takes your character model and it spins you like you're getting flushed down a toilet.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to, like, orient. You can still shoot. Like, even Reinhardt could actually charge out of it, which I thought was kind of broken. But you can still do stuff while you're in the surge. You're not disabled, but you don't have control of your character at all.
All right, guys, I'm going to end it there. We have a lot more thoughts to share. We're going to be doing one of these videos on defensive characters, offensive characters, as well as support. So we're going to have a link in the YouTube card as well as the video description in the comments. Check it out. We're covering a lot more Overwatch. We're having a blast playing this game, and even just talking about it is fun. We want to get our hands on it so bad. Be sure to subscribe. We're going to bring you more Overwatch on the channel, and thanks for watching.
Yeah, buddy.
Bye-bye.